Xydonia.
Irashaimase! Hello and welcome to Fitaurus Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Fitaurus. It's time once again for Shoot 'em Up Saturday. And on the menu for this Saturday, we have Xydonia, a shoot 'em up currently on Kickstarter from developer Breaking Bytes. So what kind of taste will this shoot 'em up have? Let's get cooking and find out. So before we go and get started though, just a note, this is the alpha demo that's currently available for the game. Version 2. So, that said, I feel like it's a really well done game even in alpha version, but it is an alpha, so the finished product could be very different from what you're going and seeing here. As we start, we're taken to a fighter select screen. There are currently 3 pilots that we can go and choose between: Harrison Blade, Tyrone Bull, and Yoko Valentine. Something to go and note about Xydonia is it's possible to go and play this one local co-op in its current form. If the Kickstarter is successful enough, then they'll look at going and adding online co-op. But for right now, it does support local co-op, and that's great. So for today, I'll be going and picking Yoko Valentine, and my partner is going to go and pick Tyrone Bull Johnson. The main difference between the fighters is the ship itself, in terms of just simply aesthetics, and also the option. The weapons that the ship are equipped with are the same between all 3 ships. You've got the Plasma Shot, Type A, the Energy Blade, Type B, and the Napalm Strike, Type C. After you've gone and selected your fighter, you can go and select an assist. Right now, there's just the no assist option, which goes and gives you a multiplier addition, or you can go and select Kiralan, who goes and gives you +2 stock to your lives. And we'll be going ahead and running with her today. As we start, Stage 0. So, in addition to your shot, the other primary forms of attack that we go and have in Xydonia are all related to the options that we can go and pick up. And it goes and varies, as I mentioned, from ship to ship. So Tyrone's ship, since we have already picked up an option with him, he can go and strike enemies back at other enemies. With his options, they'll spin around, he'll go and impact an enemy, and they'll go flying, at least hopefully, into other enemies going and dealing heavy damage. Yoko's ship goes and fires a homing laser from her option, going and dealing potentially heavy damage to the enemies as well. There's also the ability to go and lock onto enemies with Yoko's option, but at least in the mid stages, it doesn't seem like it would be too terribly useful, since most of the enemies go down relatively quickly. We can also switch between our 3 weapon options. The Type A is your main kind of straight shot. Type B acts as a wide shot with penetration, and Type C is a slow but heavy shot that can also go and cancel enemy bullets. And we can go and also charge up, once we go and have an option, a burst meter, which allows us to go and deal kind of like a super attack. Kind of best saved for bosses or really sticky situations. And speaking of bosses, here we are at Cyber Slament, Stage 0's boss. A neat looking skull who starts to go move up and down the more and more damage you've gone and dealt to him. Lasers and standard shots. There is some neat destructible parts on this boss as well, as you go and destroy the upper skull and the jaw. I feel it goes and looks even more menacing than it did without. And when you go and defeat a boss, they go and drop scrap, which will be used in later versions of the game to go and buy items at a shop that, of course, hasn't been implemented yet. Upon completing a stage, you go and get your bonuses. And a quick little message from each of the characters. No time to mess around, let's bounce. Warping to the next zone, stay sharp, folks! Here we find ourselves in stage 1B, Neo Tokyo 6. So from a sheer aesthetic standpoint, I really like what they go and do with the start of this stage. Approaching the city from what I would go and assume would be in orbit. And then watch the background as they go and do some awesome stuff with a scrolling background here as we approach the city. Something about that scrolling out city effect I just love, and goes and says a lot about their attention to detail. Or at least that's my feelings on it. I also quite like the enemy design that we go and have here, from these claw-like fighters, just the simple round fodder ships, or these more... In a moment here, there's also some enemy fighters that look similar to us. Great mech design. And here we are at the stage 2 boss, Justice Pursuer, who does go and approach from the back, but fortunately they give you a nice little warning that that's the case. Now, I do realize it's an alpha, but as far as the fight with Justice Pursuer is concerned, I feel like things are a little bit uneven compared to the rest of the demo, as there are some bullet patterns that are blisteringly hard to go and dodge later on in the fight. But it is an alpha, so I'm definitely ready and willing to go and see how the game goes and continues to develop. So that's pretty much it for the alpha demo. There are just the 2 stages, both with complete boss fights, and for an alpha, I feel like it's really complete and feels great. The promise that's shown here speaks to a game that could go and be as they want it to go and be. A great love letter to Japanese arcade classics of the 90s. So, if you like what you go and see here, I really encourage you to give this demo a try and also support the Kickstarter. I'm definitely planning to. And I hope you do as well. There's still a couple weeks left in the campaign from the point at which I'm going and recording this. So, definitely, reach out and help this developer go and make Xydonia a reality and a success. Anyway, thank you so much for going and joining me today for Shoot 'em Up Saturday, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.
Xydonia.